Small disclaimer. This video contains spoilers for the Spider-Man 2 video game by Insomniac. If you haven't played or at least seen, I'd suggest you click off of this video if you don't want to be spoiled. If you either don't mind being spoiled or you've already seen or played the game, then enjoy this video. But one last disclaimer. This video, as well as my other versus videos, are educated guesses at best. No way am I trying to say other people are wrong if they think someone else will win, nor am I trying to say this is 100% concrete. This is an educated guess at best. With that in mind, please enjoy the video. Alright boys, we're done with Dragon Ball fights. For now, we're going into other fictions, and today we got a crossover fight. Spider-Man from Insomniac's Marvel's Spider-Man 2 versus the Akatsuki from Naruto. But before we get into the winner, I want to give a big thank you to Ivan the Unstoppable for making his Spider-Man video. A lot of data for this video came from that, along with my own research, but he was a big help nonetheless, so thank you. If you're watching this. The winner is Peter Parker, the Amazing Spider-Man. One thing we need to get out of the way first of all is that Spider-Man cannot be put under any genjutsus. This is because Spider-Man does not have chakra. This makes him immune to genjutsu because to cast it, the caster must manipulate what the target sees and hears. Since Peter obviously doesn't have chakra, neither Obito, Pain, Nagato, or Itachi, or anyone else who has genjutsu can cast anything on him. Not to mention that also thanks to this lack of chakra, all dojutsus like Sharingans and Rinnegan's are half as effective as they usually would be. This is because what most dojutsus do is track chakra, and that's 50% of how they track and read movements so well. The other 50% is just really good vision enhancement. But now, besides powers like Amaterasu, Susanoo, or the passive Pain powers, that's really all Pain, Nagato, Obito, and Itachi have now. And Spider-Man is physically stronger, faster, and tougher than everyone on the Akatsuki, even without the symbiote. The same symbiote which, even if it isn't covering his body, he can call it up at any time. And as we all know, the symbiote increases Spider-Man's strength by a lot. So much so that he beat this version of the Lizard, who's more powerful than the 616 version of the Lizard, who's gone head-to-head with Man-Thing, who's beaten the Hulk. And this anti-venom symbiote has a special ability to purge abnormalities from the body, bloodstream, or DNA, which dojutsu like the Rinnegan and Sharingan are, as well as kinjutsu like Kakuzu and Deidara's. Meaning if Spider-Man touches any part of their body, he can get rid of their dojutsus or kinjutsus. So there's going to be 2 rounds of this. The first round is where Spider-Man's fighting certain members based on when they appeared in the Naruto series, like when they made their first appearances in the Naruto world. And the second round is where the whole Akatsuki just jumps him like his Jujutsu Kaisen. The first to step up to the plate is Itachi and Kisame. Since Peter doesn't have chakra, shark skin, and genjutsu don't work on him. And the anti-venom symbiote's immune to flames, sound, electricity, and lightning. This means that although powerful, Itachi's Amaterasu won't actually hurt Spider-Man. And even if Itachi pulls out the Susanoo, the most it does is a shield for him. But remember, Itachi can't use it for long or else he'll suffer temporary blindness. Not to mention that the Susanoo is too slow to actually hit Spider-Man. So Itachi's gonna have to get up close and personal with Spider-Man and throw hands. But against such a powerful foe like Spider-Man, Itachi's eventually gonna get knocked out. And then there's Kisame. Even if Kisame fuses with his shark skin and gets his more bestial form and uses his giant water prison and gets Spider-Man caught in it, Spider-Man can swim. I know that doesn't sound like the biggest advantage, but it does help Spider-Man. And the symbiote isn't deterred by water in the slightest, meaning Spider-Man can just extend tendrils around chasing Kisame. And if Kisame gets close, Spider-Man's just gonna grab a hold of him and beat him down until Kisame faints, and that would make the water prison dissipate. Now what if Itachi and Kisame fight him at the same time? The result's still the same. No matter who shoots at him from afar, no matter who gets up close and personal, it doesn't matter. Spider-Man can close the distance to them or can just fight them both at the same time. He's strong and fast enough to do it. And although unlike Itachi's fire jutsu, Kisame's water style, which focuses on blunt force, could actually hurt Spider-Man, but it's still not enough to beat him. So in the end, they both get knocked out. Now on to Deidara and Sasori. Deidara's explosive clay doesn't hurt Spider-Man at all because again, his symbiote's immune to heat and flames. And no matter how many puppets Sasori pulls out, they all get destroyed by Spider-Man. Even if he brings out a performance of 100 puppets, Spider-Man destroys each and every single one of them. And Spider-Man's strong enough to break through Sasori's iron sand. Now what Sasori has going for him that Deidara doesn't is that Sasori's a puppet, and as far as we know, this means he can't be knocked unconscious by blunt force. But even if he whips out his puppet mode, he can still be taken down by Spider-Man. So Deidara gets knocked out or self-destructs but doesn't hurt Spider-Man, and Sasori gets his puppet arms broken off, his little wing blades taken off, and just webbed up and can't do anything. Now I know that last part about Spider-Man breaking Sasori's arms off seems a bit extreme for Spider-Man, but he will do it if he has to, and in this case he has to, because although he can't hurt Spider-Man with it, Sasori can expel flames from his hands and just burn through any webbing Spider-Man puts him in. And this is if they jump him. A one-on-one would be so easy, I'm just having them jump him from the start. What about Deidara and Sasori's giant iron sand covered C2 dragon? While the iron sand might hurt Spider-Man, the explosion won't. What if it didn't explode on impact? Then Spider-Man just breaks the iron sand and takes the monster down. And then he proceeds to tank all of Deidara's explosions while destroying all of Sasori's puppets, get to them, knock Deidara unconscious, and then he literally disarms Sasori and webs him down, and like that, 2 more members are taken out. And like I said, the clay-producing mouths on Deidara's hands are a kinjutsu, in other words, alteration to the body, so Spider-Man can get rid of them if he touches Deidara. But he honestly doesn't even need to get rid of the kinjutsu because the explosions won't hurt him. Now it's Kakuzu and Hidan's turns. These two are some tough cookies. Hidan's literally immortal, while Kakuzu has a bunch of hearts. But Spider-Man still gets the dub. When Hidan attacks Spider-Man, Spider-Man can deal with him really easily. He just has to take Hidan's scythe away and web him up, and Hidan won't be able to get out, so he's out of commission. Now it's Kakuzu's turn, and boy is he a tough one. Kakuzu's pretty strong and fast and durable, and he can also use Earth Spear to harden his skin, and at that point the only thing that can break through his defense is electricity and lightning. But even with the symbiote, Spider-Man still uses his gadgets, like his spider arms, which can shoot electrified web lines. So he hits Kakuzu with it and breaks through his defense and starts to beat him up. But then, Kakuzu can summon his monsters. However, using these monsters is like using a double-edged sword, because these aren't just creatures that Kakuzu can control, they're his hearts. Meaning when Spider-Man breaks their masks, which he will eventually, Kakuzu will lose his heart, even if Spider-Man doesn't know that Kakuzu has extra hearts. And the only 2 masks that can hurt Spider-Man are the Wind Mask and the Water Mask. But that still won't take Spider-Man out. And this is when the Anti-Venom symbiote's ability comes in really handy. Because Kakuzu's ability, the monster stretching his hands out, taking people's hearts, those are all from a kinjutsu, which again is an alteration to the body, so Spider-Man can take it away. Well, not take it away, he can get rid of it. And even though Kakuzu would still basically keep the hearts, because he doesn't need the kinjutsu to sustain the hearts, he just needed them to get the hearts. So he'd still get to keep the hearts even after getting his kinjutsu taken away. And eventually, while a pretty tough cookie, Kakuzu still gets knocked out by Spider-Man. And when they jump him, Hidan still gets taken out first because he's the easiest to deal with. And Kakuzu, well, the scenario I just described of Kakuzu getting beaten by Spider-Man happens. Jumping him doesn't really change much. Now it's running the ones with Spider-Man versus Conan, in which case Spider-Man wins this pretty easily, considering, no offense to Conan, she's pretty cool and all, but she's pretty much a one-trick pony. Her one attack is paper ninjutsu, and even if she makes them explosive, they don't hurt Spider-Man. And by her one attack, I mean her one power, her one ninjutsu. But even if Conan dropped Spider-Man to the bottom of the ocean with like literal wall-sized things of explosive paper bombs like she did Obito, Spider-Man would come out legit unscathed because, again, he's immune to heat. So Spider-Man can just leap to Conan and fight her in the air and eventually will knock her out cold. Now it's Spider-Man versus the 6 Paths of Pain. We'll get to Nagato later after this, but for now we're just having him fight the 6 Paths of Pain. Even though it's like the image is only one pain, y'all know what I'm trying to say. Now, while not exactly per se easy, it's a pretty simple fight. The 6 Paths of Pain's abilities all come from the Rinnegan, which is a dojutsu which can be purged from their bodies by Spider-Man's symbiote. And Spider-Man's faster than thoughts can be transferred, meaning that even if the paths try to warn each other that Spider-Man's coming for one of them, they still actually won't be able to communicate fast enough to stop and intercept Spider-Man. And this is where Spider-Man picks each of the paths off one by one. And by pick them off, I mean just take away their Rinnegan powers and then, knock them out. And their Rinnegans aren't as efficient in tracking him as they usually would be because Spider-Man doesn't have chakra, so all they have is just really good eyesight. Well, that and the powers they get from the Rinnegan, but once that's taken away, they're just normal people and can be taken down. Spider-Man can either charge them head-on or do it like a stealth mission. But other than taking their powers away, Spider-Man is capable of fighting them like in a one-on-one fight. Eventually he can overwhelm them, he can dodge and counter whatever attacks they throw into him, any summons or any missile attacks from the Asura path. Eventually, Spider-Man begins to take the powers of each path of pain and then take them out. What about the main path, the one with almighty push and heavenly pull? While a very tough individual, Pain can still be beat by Spider-Man. During their fight, eventually Spider-Man gets a hold of Pain, and before Pain can use his almighty push or do anything to get Spider-Man off of him, he loses his Rinnegan powers. And as far as we know, this Pain would just straight up pass out. Since this Pain is like Yahiko's body being used as Nagato's with the Rinnegan, as far as we know, the body would just kind of pass out. And through a very tough, grueling battle, Spider-Man wins. But it's not over yet, because now he's gotta fight the main Pain, Nagato. This will be Spider-Man's toughest fight so far, because this is someone who has all the path powers of the Rinnegan. Nagato is an absolute powerhouse. He was fighting 2 different Jinchurikis at the same time, and he only lost that fight because Itachi used the Susanoo sealing blade on him. So this is a pretty epic fight. It'd be really cool if this was animated, but sadly we can only use our imaginations. But however grueling the fight may be, Spider-Man still wins it. Cause one disadvantage Nagato has is that all these powers come from one thing. You guessed it, the Rinnegan. If Spider-Man can get close enough, which he can, and grabs a hold of any part of Nagato's body, he can basically cleanse the Rinnegan from Nagato's body. And while still very powerful, he is now much easier to take out than if he had the Rinnegan. One quick thing I want to address about Spider-Man's anti-venom powers is how did Venom resist them so much? And if Venom can resist them, why can't the Akatsuki? Or at least, why can't they resist it to the extent that Venom can? Venom was able to resist as much as he did because of how deep his bond was with Harry Osborn. Dr. Connors himself said that host and symbiote were now completely one. That, and Peter wasn't using it on full blast on Venom. He just wanted to use it to a certain amount and then Harry could fight the symbiote off. That was what Peter wanted. But against the Akatsuki, who don't have these parasites bonded to their nervous systems and stuff, Peter could use it as hard as he wants on them because they won't really suffer anything from losing their kinjutsu or dojutsus. But yeah, I just wanted to address that because I realized we were using that a lot. And now we got Spider-Man versus Zetsu of the Akatsuki. Unless Zetsu finds some way to manipulate Spider-Man, which I'm not even sure he will, Spider-Man's easily gonna take him down. Even if the Black Zetsu tried to get onto Spider-Man and manipulate him, we've seen that he can be fought off, and considering Spider-Man has a ton of mental strength and a whole other being in his body, yeah, he's gonna ward off Black Zetsu pretty easily and then just web him up. As powerful as Wood's style it is, it doesn't really help Zetsu against Spider-Man. Spidey takes the dub. And now for the final boss. Or rather the first phase of the final boss. While super powerful and versatile, Obito still can't get the killing blow in on Spider-Man. It's a pretty tough fight, but Spider-Man comes out on top. The only thing Obito has to hurt Spider-Man is Wood style, and even then that doesn't just straight up give him the dub. They can both regenerate, so at most the fight goes on for a while, but in the end Spider-Man still comes out on top. Obito's pretty durable, but Spider-Man's strong enough to take him down. Now, of course, if I make it sound very easy, I don't mean to. It is a pretty difficult fight, it's just that, no offense to Obito, he's just, in terms of abilities, he's nothing really special. I think Obito's really cool, I like his powers, I like his story, but even with things like Wood style and Kamui, he doesn't really have anything all that special that's gonna give him the dub over Spider-Man. Even though Obito held his own against people like Might Guy, Kakashi, Naruto, and Killer Bee, Spider-Man isn't just capable of keeping up with Obito, but he can literally depower Obito. And once he does, it's easy come, easy go. And that's the end of at least the first phase. The second phase is none other than Obito as a Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails. I made the pictures bigger, that's how you know this is serious. And I know this seems like a pretty impossible fight for Spider-Man to win, but he still takes the dub. It's a tough battle, but he still wins it. Spider-Man's fast enough to dodge Obito's True Seeker orbs, and even if one of them does hit him, unlike reanimation jutsu, they can't nullify his regeneration. The only reason the True Seeker orbs were able to nullify the reanimation jutsu's regeneration is because that was a part of the jutsu, and the True Seeking orbs can nullify all jutsu. But Spider-Man's regeneration and attacks aren't jutsu, so there's nothing to nullify in the first place. And tailed beasts are a lot like symbiotes, in the sense that they're not really supposed to be in the body, even though they can be put inside a body. And for the record, the symbiote's purge ability doesn't exactly just kind of restrict or take the Kekai Genkai or abnormality away. It completely destroys it from the target's body. Meaning, Spider-Man won't just expel the tailed beast from Obito's body, he'll straight up kill it, because he will erase it entirely. That's how he'll get it out of Obito in the first place. Not only does taking a tailed beast leave the Jinchuriki weakened, but completely destroying it could hurt Obito even more. So when Spider-Man purges the tailed beast, cause he is capable of getting close enough to do that, Obito is either he's so weak that he just gets knocked out, or he completely passes out just from the exhaustion and is out of commission already. And like that, the first round is over. On to the second one. All the members of the Akatsuki jumping Spider-Man. The odds are stacked against him. What can Spider-Man do? A lot, because he still gets the dub. This fight will be extremely difficult, but Spider-Man can still come out on top. But for the first few people he takes out, it's fairly simple how he does it because I've already described how he can do it. And like I've said before, Spider-Man still uses his gadgets even with the symbiote. Not to mention a lot of his moves like Symbiote Blast and Anti-Venom Tempest are capable of dealing purge damage, that's what I call it, to members like Nagato and Pain and Obito and Itachi and Kakuzu and Deidara and even Obito. Now, he's not getting out of this unscathed. He's gonna have some injuries, but nothing fatal. What about moves like planetary devastation? Those cause a lot of damage and blunt force, which is something that Spider-Man isn't completely immune to. If only it could hit him. Spider-Man may be a really try-hard kind of guy and he may never really ever give up, but at the same time, if he sees a freaking meteor and he has no incentive to stay near it, he is going to run. And no one in the Akatsuki, except for like the 6 Paths of Pain, is going to risk staying there and holding Spider-Man down for the meteor to hit him. And even if he gets caught up in the planetary devastation, like he's getting sucked into it when it's forming, he can break through it when it's formed. Not to mention that the only people whose jutsus can hurt Spider-Man here are Kisame's water styles, Kakuzu's wind and water masks, and Nagato's cannons from the Asura path. Spider-Man can either counter, dodge, or straight up overpower every other move that the Akatsuki members pull out. Or he's immune to the attack entirely because it's a certain element. And like I said, Spider-Man's symbiote attacks will add like anti-venom status, which is what the game said, or as I call it, like purge damage to anyone with an abnormality. So even if he doesn't directly grab a hold of someone like Itachi or Kakuzu and directly puts his hand on them, his attacks will eventually destroy the Kekka Genkai or Genjutsu, or the Tailed Beast. Now, of course, Spider-Man isn't taking out everyone in the Akatsuki at the same time. No. He has to go one by one. And he can. And whether he knocks some of the members out or takes them out of commission, he's still capable of beating every single one of them. The winner is Spider-Man through and through. Now, y'all are probably wondering, where's Miles in all this? Well, he's a little caught up with something else. Whatever it is he's busy with, you'll have to watch the next video to find out. If you liked this one, please hit the like button. Please tell me your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your opinions. And please subscribe. It helps me a lot. Have a blessed day. Peace. Love you too.